Alright, welcome. So in this module, I will teach you how to tell the time in Dutch. Because to be able to tell the time in Dutch is a good skill to have and relevant to almost everything you will do if you interact with Dutch people, live or visit the Netherlands. You do not want to be late meeting your Dutch friends, family or colleagues. The Dutch are quite punctual when it comes to time. So let's look at a few basic sentences to begin with, asking about the time, right? So if you want to know what time it is, you say, of course in English you say, what time is it? And then in Dutch you would say, hoe laat is het? Hoe laat is het? Right? So on the left hand side you see the Dutch word, in the middle there you see the pronunciation, on the right hand side you see the English, what time is it? So then maybe somebody answers that it's 1 o'clock. So how would you say that? It is 1 o'clock. So then in Dutch you would say het is 1 uur. Het is 1 uur. So we have now one question and we know also how to answer something if it's 1 o'clock, and that's the easiest to be honest. Another way of asking the question what time it is do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? And in Dutch we say dan weet je hoe laat het is? Weet je hoe laat het is? Okay, let's practice those 3 important sentences together. Okay, so repeat after me. Hoe laat is het? Hoe laat is het? Yes, one more time. Hoe laat is het? Okay, good. Then we go to the next one and then repeat after me. Het is 1 uur. Het is 1 uur. Yes, exactly. Good. And then we go to the third one, and that was another way of asking the question about what time it is. And that means, do you know what time it is? And then you say, weet je hoe laat het is? Weet je hoe laat het is? Repeat after me. Weet je hoe laat het is? Exactly. Okay, so these are some 3 good basic questions and one answer to use when asking about the time. But we have more information in this course, so let's continue. Let me explain you something about the method we're using in this course. We use the simple pronunciation notation system. So you see here on the right hand side in the red circle, you see the phonetic official system. That system is actually pretty difficult and not a lot of people understand that. So we use here a simpler system. So what you see in the green circle, that is the simple pronunciation system. And please remember that the system is based on an English speaker. So you have to, when you read it, almost read it within the back of your mind as if you're an English person. Because if a Dutch person would read this would be quite strange. So try to read it as an English person. So in this case it would be alstublieft. Yeah, alstublieft, exactly like that. But we're going to take a look more at the clock. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the time units in Dutch and we're going to look at parts of the day in Dutch. So let's start with the time units. So if we look at time units, what I mean with that, if we look to the clock, we have like seconds and minutes and hours. So let's take a look at that. What is that exactly in Dutch? So if we have the second, in English we would say the second, then in Dutch we would say de seconde. De seconde. You see, almost same, but we have an sound at the end. So that is de seconde. Then when we talk about a minute, the minute, we would say de minuut. De minuut. De minuut. Exactly. Then we can also talk about the hour. The hour. And in Dutch that is het uur. Het uur. Yes, good. And then we also can talk about 15 minutes. And 15 minutes is a quarter. And a quarter in Dutch is kwartier. Kwartier. Yes, good. And then we can also talk about, for example, 3/4 of an hour. So that's 45 minutes. And in Dutch we call that drie kwartier. Drie kwartier. Good. So these are some very important basics for the clock, right? So let's practice those together in the pronunciation. Okay, so repeat after me. De seconde. De seconde. Yeah, one more time. De seconde. Good. Then we go to de minuut. De minuut. Repeat after me. De minuut. Yes, good. Then we go to het uur. Het uur. Repeat after me. Het uur. Yes, that's the hour. Then we have a quarter of an hour. Kwartier. Repeat after me. Kwartier. Kwartier. Yes, exactly. And then we have 3/4, and that is 3/4. 3/4. Repeat after me. 3/4. Yes, fantastic. Well done. Alright, so when we're talking about the time, the parts of the day are of course also important, right? So let's talk first about like noon and 12 o'clock at night. So in Dutch, noon, we have a longer sentence for that. We don't have one word for that. So in Dutch we say 12 uur 's middags. 12 uur 's middags, that literally means 12 hours in the afternoon. So please remember that of course for this module you also need to know the Dutch numbers, right? And I also got a free course for you available on the Dutch numbers. So it's good to study the Dutch numbers first before you start studying the clock, right? So that is noon, 12 uur 's middags. Then if you're talking about midnight, then we say middernacht. Middernacht. Yes, that's how we say that. Okay, so let's repeat after me. 12 uur 's middags. Yeah, 12 uur 's middags. Yes, good. Then repeat after me. Middernacht. 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 Yes, so that is noon and midnight. Now let's go to some other parts of the day. So for example, we have in the morning. In the morning. And in Dutch we say 's ochtends. 's ochtends, that is in the morning. Then we also have in the afternoon. And in the afternoon is 's middags. 's middags. In the afternoon. Then we have in the evening, and in the evening in Dutch we say 's avonds. 's avonds. And then we have one more of course, and that's at night. And at night we say 's nachts. 's nachts. Alright, good job. Let's pronounce these together. Okay, so repeat after me. 's ochtends. 's ochtends. Alright, good. Then also repeat after me the next one. 's middags. 's middags. Okay, repeat after me. 's middags. So it starts with an S and it ends with an S, right? So make sure you make that S sound. Then we have in the evening, and in Dutch that is 's avonds. 's avonds. Repeat after me. 's avonds. Okay, and then the last one for the parts of the day, and that is 's nachts. 's nachts. And that is at night. Alright, great. If you find this difficult, you can replay it and practice. Later in the course I also have a helpful tool for you. They are called flashcards, and the flashcards will also help you to improve your Dutch. Telling time. There are two ways of telling the time, the digital system and the analog system. And everyone will understand you when you use the digital system. However, the analog system is more common. But let's take a look at the digital system first, because it's a little bit easier and it's always good to know as a backup. And then we go into the analog system, the more common system. So, using the digital system. So in the digital system, if you would say it's 2 o'clock, then you would say het is 2 uur. That's quite straightforward, right? Because with the analog system that would be the same. But where it's different, of course, is when you add the minutes. So if you say in English, the digital system, you say for example it's 2:15. So in Dutch you would say het is 2 uur 15. Het is 2 uur 15. And remember what I told you? It's important to learn the numbers first, right? So het is 2 uur 15. Then another example of the digital clock, for example, when it's 2:30, in Dutch you can say het is 2 uur 30. Het is 2 uur 30. And then the last one, it is 2:45. It is 2:45. Then you can say het is 2 uur 45. So you see what you do there? You take the full hour and then after that you say the minutes, but you just say the number of the minutes and then it's fine. Okay, let's practice the pronunciation together. So the first one, het is 2 uur. So repeat after me. Het is 2 uur. Okay, good. Then the next one, het is 2 uur 15. Het is 2 uur 15. Yes, repeat after me. Het is 2 uur 15. Good. Then the third one. Het is 2:30. Het is 2:30. Repeat after me. Het is 2:30. And that means it's 2:30. And then the last one I'm going to teach you here is het is 2:45. Het is 2:45. It's 2:45. Okay. Good job, well done. So now at least you know the digital system. And the digital system, as you've seen, is pretty straightforward. It's almost a translation from the English version, right? But now we go to telling the time in the analog system. Telling the time. So most languages divide the clock in two halves. In the right half, they look backwards to the last hour, and in the left, they look forward to the next hour. So telling the time in Dutch, however, is a little bit difficult. And so in Dutch, actually, you have to divide the clock in 4 parts. So in Dutch, the clock is separated into 4 parts. So you see, the first quarter of the hour we call over. Then we have a next quarter we call voor, then we have over again, and then we have voor again. So you might be a little bit confused about it, and I can imagine, but let's take a look at it. I will explain you exactly how it works. So here we're going to take a look at the first quarter of the clock. So for example, it is 2 o'clock, right? So if it's 2 o'clock, then we just simply say het is 2 uur. Het is 2 uur. Okay. Straightforward. Now we go to a next example, and now it's 2:05. So in Dutch, when it's 2:05, we say het is 2:05, right? So we use the word over there. Het is 2:05. Okay, good. Then the next one, het is, so in this case it's 2:10. It's 2:10, and in Dutch we say het is 2:10. Het is 2:10, which means it is 2:10, right? Past 2. Okay. And then the last one here, it's 2:15. And that is in Dutch, het is 2:15. Het is 2:15. All right, so pretty straightforward, right? So you say the amount of minutes is over the certain time. So 2 uur, 2:05, 2:10, 2:15. Let's practice those sentences together. Okay, so repeat after me. Het is 2 uur. Het is 2 uur. Het is 2:05. Het is 2:05. Het is 2:10. Het is 2:10. Then repeat after me the last one. Het is 2:15. Het is 2:15. Good. So that was the first quarter of the clock, which is not too difficult and very similar to the English one. But then the next one comes, the second quarter of the clock. And the second quarter of the clock, what we do there, we actually speak towards the half hour. So it is 2:20 in English. In Dutch, that is, het is 2:10. So literally that would means it is 10 before 2:30, right? So that is different than in English. So you would say het is 2:10. So it is 2:20. So we look at that in a different perspective. Let's look at another sentence that will make it also clear. So for example, it's 2:25, right? So that's 2:25. So in Dutch, we would then say, in the analog system, het is 2:05. It's 5 before 2:30. Because 2:30 is, of course, 2:30. So we count towards the 2:30. So it's 2:05. Then it's 2:30. That is, het is 2:30. So you see, het is 2:30. That is 2:30. And the other ones will refer to how many minutes it is before we reach that 2:30. So that is maybe a little bit complicated, but you'll get used to it if you practice it. So let's practice this together. All right, repeat after me. Het is 2:10. So that is 2:20. Het is 2:10. Okay? Then it's 2:25. Then we say het is 2:05. Repeat after me. Het is 2:05. Good. Then it's 2:30. We say het is 2:30. Het is 2:30. So remember, in this second quarter of the clock, we count towards the half hour. So everything before that, we count towards the first half hour. That's why we say voor. It's so many minutes before it is the half hour of that hour. Okay? Good. So that was a difficult part. I understand that. The next one is also a little bit difficult. So keep in mind the half hour and start looking backwards to it. So that's what we're going to do now. So, for example, the third clock of the hour, we're going to look at it's 25 to 3. It's 25 to 3. So in Dutch we say het is 2:05. So you see that's 5 minutes past basically 2:30 or 2:30. Yeah, het is 2:05. Or you can say it's 20 to 3. In Dutch that would be het is 2:10. Het is 2:10. Okay, let's practice that together. Okay, then repeat after me. Het is 2:05. Het is 2:05. And that it's 25 to 3. And then when we move on to the next one, het is 2:10. Het is 2:10. And that is it's 20 to 3. So I can imagine that's a little bit difficult, but as I mentioned, keep practicing it. Then we go to the fourth quarter of the clock, and the fourth quarter of the clock is quite logical again, because we're going to look forward to the next hour. So we are in the fourth quarter now, so imagine it's a 2:45. In Dutch we say then, het is 3:15. Het is 3:15. So that's very similar to English, right? Then when we say it's 10 to 3, we say het is 3:10. Het is 3:10. Exactly, good. And then it's 5 to 3. It's 5 to 3. Then we can say het is 5:05. And then of course when it's 3 o'clock we say het is 3 uur. So that is how that part works. We say the minutes for the next hour. Okay, let's pronunciate that together. So repeat after me. The first one. Het is 3:15. Het is 3:15. Okay, good. Then the next one. Het is 3:10. Het is 3:10. Okay, good. Then het is 5:03. Het is 5:03. Repeat after me. Het is 5:03. And then the last one. Het is 3 uur. Het is 3 uur. Okay, well done. That is basically the clock in Dutch. If you master these expressions that I already taught you, then basically you can get around and telling people the time, and you will understand when people are telling you what time it is. So maybe repeat this again. In the end of the course I will also show you the flashcards that we have. But before that I want to show you or tell you something about Dutch punctuality. So the Dutch are in general quite punctual. So punctuality is regarded as a good virtue. So if you are late, it's common to apologize for being late, and most of the time your apologies for a late arrival will be accepted in a good-natured way. And if you are unexpectedly delayed, send a message or call ahead and let the others know when they can expect you. And then people are not too concerned. But in general, just make sure you are on time. Okay? So now we're going to do something fun. I have a little quiz for you, the Dutch quiz. And in this Dutch quiz, let's see if you remember some of the things we've just learned. So the first one, I hope it's not too easy for you. So if you hear this phrase or this question, hoe laat is it? Hoe laat is it? What does that mean? Does that mean, what time is it, eh? Does that mean, do you know what time it is? Or does it mean it's 1 o'clock? Or does it mean in the morning? What do you think? A, B, C, or D? What do you think? I give you 3 seconds. Here we go. And it means what time is it, right? What time is it? Exactly. Great. Good. I have another question for you, and this is a specific time. So, this is a part of a day, let's tell you that. So it's 's ochtends. So do you remember, when is 's ochtends? Is 's ochtends A in the afternoon? Is 's ochtends B in the morning? Is 's ochtends C in the evening? Or is 's ochtends D at night? What do you think? Okay, make your choice. Here we go. Pick-pock. And it is, of course, in the morning. 's Ochtends is in the morning. So if you drink a cup of coffee in the morning, you say, ik drink koffie 's ochtends. Yes, good. Then we go to the third one and the last question for you. And this is a specific time. Let's see if you remember this. And in this case, het is 2:05. And I have to be honest, I chose quite a difficult one for this one, because if you can do this, then you're pretty well on your way of learning the Dutch clock. So het is 2:05. What does that mean? A, it's 20 past 2. Does that mean B, it's 2:30? Does that mean C, it's 5 past 2? Or does that D mean it's 25 past 2? All right, think about it. What does that mean? It is 2:05. So basically that means it's 5 before 2:30, right? So what is that? Okay, here we go. And the answer is D, right? It's 25 past 2. That's the same thing, because we count towards the half hour. So we say 5 minutes to the half hour of like 2:30, right? Yes, exactly. Okay, good. So in this course, I also have a tool for you that will help you to learn Dutch. So we use flashcards, and using flashcards for language learning is a great way to reinforce words and concepts. So in the flashcards, you will find the Dutch word, you will find the translation, and you find the way how to pronounce it. Where do you get those flashcards? You can download them. So attached to this course there is a link. If you follow that link, you will find a PDF. And if you look at that PDF, then you can print it, and then you can cut out small cards that you can put in your pocket. And then you can, throughout the day, throughout the week, you can look at the cards and practice your Dutch. All right? I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope you learned a lot. And maybe some of you want to learn more. So if you want to learn more, fine, I have more for you. So I can understand that a lot of people want to learn more than only the clock, right? So I have more for you. Let me show you what we have. So please and thank you in Dutch, how to say that. That's a course that's freely available to you. Also the course, how to say hello and goodbye. That one is available. Also we have a course on how to say happy birthday in Dutch, or even how to say I love you in Dutch. We also provide you with a course of how to count in Dutch. Important to learn how to count, right? Especially in combination with the clock. Then how to name and pronounce colors. Also important. Then, of course, the basis of the language is the alphabet. So learn the Dutch alphabet and pronunciation. And then, of course, what we've done in this module was how to tell the time in Dutch. So well done. Keep practicing the clock. Go and practice also other things. And I hope I can see you in the next course again. And keep up the good work. And for now, bye bye.